incredibly simple words in one very basic question. But a basic question that is absolutely transformational if we allow it to be, and which can define us. It can define who we are, it can define what we do, and it can define where we go. Think about it. When I say the words "what if" to you, what do you think about? Troy thinks about cancer, an agonizing and painful disease that robs people of life and destroys families. But he asks himself, what if? What if we could rise above the agony, rise above the pain, and get rid of the inexcusable and ultimate result and focus the person that's affected on the present and the people around him that matter the most, their family, and create experiences that allow them to celebrate joy every day instead of agonize in the pain, and create lasting memories that will last forever. Emily asked, what if? What if we could take the simplicity and the efficacy of nature and we could harvest it and we could transform our lives personally and as communities and in a world and maybe impact millions, if not billions of people? And Hughes asked a question, what if we could overcome generational poverty and seemingly insurmountable need that exists in places like Haiti with little or no resources available to them whatsoever? Wow. Absolutely mind-blowing things. Everyday people achieving extraordinary things every day, all as the result of them asking themselves and pushing themselves based on the question of what if? Now I know what you're thinking. Mark, it can't possibly be that simple, because if it were really that simple, then why aren't most of us doing that? But I think the answer to that problem is actually very simple. For Troy and Emily and Hughes figured out that they evaluate the light of what if positively, based on possibilities and what could be. And as a result, the possibilities are exciting, engaging, intoxicating, and alluring. But there's another way that people evaluate things, isn't there? Negatively. What if people think I'm stupid? What if I'm wrong? What if I fail? What if I lose my job? And when we look at things through that lens, what do we feel and think about? We're thinking about the worst possible result, which is why I'm a recovering lawyer. We think about the red flags. We think about everything that could happen tragically in the worst things on the planet. But what's the fundamental promise or problem with that premise and that dichotomy? That's not life, is it? Do we really win or lose? Do we really succeed or fail? No matter what media and our culture tries to get us to believe, that just doesn't happen. It's some gradient in between where we're not 100% fail. Nothing really bad ever truly happens of what we're thinking, but we do achieve success. We innovate and we try the world's oldest research and delivery model, which is trial and effort. And we try and we try and we try and we understand what works and we understand what doesn't, and we expel what doesn't, and we build upon what does, and we try and persist to an eventual result which is amazing. Maybe not the end result we originally envisioned, but amazing nonetheless. And what's more amazing is if that more of us think this way and act this way and do these things, it's not just Troy, it's not just Emily, it's not just Hughes. It's people like you and me. I had my own what-if moment back in 2000. Here I was, a 30-year-old lawyer starting a brilliant firm with 6 other people, 2 of which were international industrialists, buying and selling companies and doing complex real estate development all across the globe, moving and shaking everything. Now, one of them was getting a little older and thinking about his legacy. And he decided he was going to take a good part of his family fortune and he was going to transform education in our inner cities. And he came and he asked me if I would give up part of my law practice to do this with him. Now, talk about what if. I was making great money. I was important. I was doing incredible things. I was making a great living. But yet, the desire to help people and to really change the world, which is why I became a lawyer, was now thinking about those what-if possibilities. About, oh my God, I have the ability to do this? And if I do this, what does it mean? And then I talked to my parents. Now, what lens do you think my parents used? Jeff? You know, negative, right? Because of their culture and what they grew up in and what they lived through and what they wanted for me. They grew up in an environment where they worked for a company for 35 years, they got a gold watch, and they retired and thought about all the great things they did for that company. And then they thought about when I was born and all the things they wanted for me. They wanted me to go to college. They wanted me to maybe go to graduate school. They wanted me to get a great job, and they wanted me to make a great living to support my family. And I had all that. And the only thing they could think about was, my God, Mark, what if it doesn't work? What if you give up everything you have, and at the end of the day, you have nothing? And because of those two lenses, the way I looked at it and the way my parents looked at it, I struggled and struggled. I tossed and turned for weeks and weeks until finally the gentleman that posed the initial question came to me and said, Mark, I love you, but you got to make a decision. And it was right then and there I thought, if I really do what I say I'm going to do and I really persist, there's no possible way I can fail 100%, and I really have to go for this. And that decision led me on a 7-year course that, frankly, I will never forget. But I'll also never forget the feeling when I gave up the practice of law and the environment I was comfortable in, the environment I knew for an industry that I had no experience in, and I had no idea how to start with a problem that our education system was working on and couldn't solve. So what do? I felt like somebody took a big box of blue and yellow and red and green puzzle pieces, 10,000 of them, and just dropped them on the floor. How do I begin? What do I do? Well, I went back to the oldest research and development method of all time. I just started thinking about what little steps could I take to impact this thing. And I started talking to teachers and parents and students and systems about what worked and what didn't and why kids were leaving and what they needed. And as I did that, and my team and I got together, we started to develop systems and processes and meaningful things to support these children. And at the end of 6 years, I had the most amazing revelation of all time. In an industry that didn't support us, didn't want us, we had 63 schools in 7 states educating 30-some thousand children, 13,000 of which were dropouts. Kids with a 3rd grade math level, a 5th grade reading level if we were lucky, and little to no options, support, or opportunity for hope. And what we were doing was bringing them in, giving them love, giving them hope, giving them an education, which was a diploma, training them for jobs, and getting them placed. And we were doing that for 2,000 of them a year. 2,000 people that now had something. 2,000 people that were now curing generational poverty because we were doing for them what my grandparents did for us. By emigrating to this country and giving my dad an education and allowing me to now take that step, a step further, and realize my what-if moments. And I'll never forget in that 6th year that the acting secretary of education of our country came to this town to tour our facilities and talk to our team. And he said some pretty amazing things. He said, Mark, it's rarely that I'm this impressed. I've never seen a more motivated, innovative, or engaged workforce. And I really believe in this dropout recovery program that you have the future of education. Because it identifies the real need and it meets these kids where they're at and gives them what they need, when they need it, and exactly how they want it. Now, all of us have that in all of our lives, but these kids didn't. Now, how many of you think this story ends 100% positively? No, it didn't. A year later, the owner of the company and I had some fundamental disagreements on vision, direction, and what the next what-if moments were. And they were so disparate that I literally was left with no choice but to give up my 14 to 20-hour job that defined me and made me as a person, because it gave me that outlet and that vehicle to truly make a difference in a meaningful, transformational way for hundreds of people, thousands of people and the families that would come after them. And I was depressed. Probably not clinically, but depressed for 2 years. Now, how many of you think it ends 100% negatively? It doesn't. While that was true, and I gave up a great salary and a lot of my net worth because I'd built it in that company 14 to 20 hours a day, I got the greatest gift that ever could have been presented to me. I met and was there to marry my best friend, my soulmate, and my partner in crime, my wife. And then she continued to give me the other greatest gifts I'd ever have, and my 3 beautiful daughters that constantly challenged me and constantly helped me reevaluate my positive what-if moments and how I'm now going to transform the world, not just for me and others, but for them. And the ripple effect that that can have based on the discovery and the advancements we make and the things that we achieve, not what we set out to achieve, but the things that are there. And what was really amazing is not only did I get all of those great things that now define who I am, but it showed a community of people what I could do, how I thought, and what I could achieve. And ever since that moment, even though I thought I had given up just about everything, the community has given me a sandbox. And who doesn't want a sandbox? Who doesn't want to play and experiment? And now health systems come to me and ask me to chair, my wife and I, to chair their event, when they want to reimagine and re-envision how they're going to take healthcare to a community of underserved people that can't get there and to come to the facility. How do we get it to them, and how do we support it? And how do we take an event that raised a couple $100,000 and multiply it to well over $1 million event and deliver that thing to those people and really change their environments and what they can do for their children and themselves? The United Way has asked me to chair their high net worth giving group and raise over $3 million annually to do the things you do in curing generational poverty. Bridges out of poverty, creating a bridge for people that are dependent and helping them get to independence. And what we're doing now is so amazing in the fact that we're having graduates of this program not just get an education, not just be employable, but start their own businesses. And we're seeing their children be educated. Now, this is massive change. What does this do for all the things that cripple our government and our healthcare systems in prisons, Medicare, Medicaid? It's unbelievable. It's undeniable if we just look at what if in a positive way. And so it's not just Troy. It's not just Emily. It's not just me. It's not just the speakers on the stage, but every one of us can do this and impact these things. So what is your what-if moment? What are you doing or not doing? And what simple steps can you take to transform your view, transform your life, and transform our world? Thank you.